everybody, and welcome to Yoga Studio. My name is Christine, and today I'm going to bring you through a gentle practice which is suitable for beginners and everybody else. So before we begin, if you have a blanket, I suggest that you have a blanket handy. If you've got a cushion as well, you can have your cushion for Shavasana at the end. If there's anything going on with the knees as well, you might need two cushions for kneeling, or your blanket might do the job. I'm using a yoga mat today, but you don't have to use a yoga mat if you don't have one. And if you are using a towel, just be really careful when we come up to stand that the towel doesn't slip around. If you're on a wooden floor, it's absolutely fine. If you're on a carpet, the towel won't move, but on the wooden floor, it tends to slip around a little bit. So we're going to begin our practice in a seated position. I'm going to sit on the blanket, so you can do that too if you like. And I'm sitting with the legs crossed, but if this doesn't work in your body or if it doesn't feel good, then you're welcome to have the legs stretched out in front. You can have the knees bent, or you can have them out to the side. And actually, for the beginning of this practice, you can even sit in a chair. So all of these movements or yoga poses can be done in a chair. And just make sure that you're comfortable and that you're warm enough to begin with. If you need to have a drink of water as well, you can have it there. If at any stage during the practice you start to feel unwell, dizzy or lightheaded, please come down to rest and let somebody know that you're not feeling well. If you've got injury or illness to your body, please be really mindful and aware. This is your practice. I'm merely here as a guide to bring you through your practice. Unfortunately, we're not all in the studio together where I can sometimes see things are going on and give you assists and adjusts. So it's going to be up to yourself to realize when you need to use your props and if you need to pull out of a pose or come down and rest. So with all that said, we will begin. So come to sit comfortably. I invite you to close down the eyes if that's comfortable. And allow your awareness to start to rest inwards now. Sitting up a little taller. So we're working to find some length in the spine and to relax the shoulders away from the ears. Soften the skin across your forehead, between the eyebrows, the cheeks and the jaw. Allow your lips to rest gently against each other, your tongue relaxing in your mouth. Just begin to notice your breath here as we begin our practice. So without trying to change it or without any judgment, just observing your natural breath. Knowing when you're breathing in and knowing when you're breathing out. And begin to bring the awareness down to the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is the big bed of muscle down at the base of our body. It's almost like a hammock, and it works really hard during our day-to-day lives to keep us supported. It holds all of our organs in place at the base of our body. And we want to just find a tone with this group of muscles now. So start to think about drawing your pubic bone and tailbone towards each other. A gentle upward lifting action. We don't want to grip on really tightly. We just want to have this lovely awareness or this gentle tone with the pelvic floor. And then bring the awareness to your low belly. Start to think about drawing the low belly back towards the spine. And if you've been practicing longer, you can begin to create a hollowing action in the belly. So draw the belly in and up under the rib cage. So this low belly lock is called Uddiyana Bandha, the flying up lock. I sometimes like to imagine it like a zip at the front of the tummy. And the pelvic floor lock is called Mula Bandha, the root lock. So it's the root of our body, right down at the base. And don't worry too much about these bandhas, in particular if you're new to practice. The awareness with them comes and goes throughout practice for everybody. But I'm here to remind you when we'll be using them and to keep the awareness with them. And then come back to the breath. Lengthening the inhale now. And lengthening the exhale. Keeping the face and the shoulders soft. Just really knowing when you're breathing in and knowing when you're breathing out. Allowing that breath to soothe and to calm your body and your mind. We're working with a natural breath during our practice. Today, you're welcome to use any other breath that is available to you or any other pranayama techniques that you know, but I'll be cueing just a natural breath. So in your own time, when you're ready, blink the eyes open and bring the gaze back around the room. We'll begin our physical practice with some neck circles. As you breathe out, bring the chin down to the chest. As you breathe in, allow the head to roll to the side and then to the back. Exhaling as the chin comes down to the chest, and inhaling as the head rolls back. So start to move with your own breath in your own time. So your circles might be faster or slower than mine. It doesn't really matter. We're just looking to find an awareness here with the muscles of the neck. There might be clicking and clacking. There might be tightness. I don't know if my speaker is picking that up. And the next time the chin comes to the chest, pause and then circle back the other direction. So you might even find now that there's one area that's particularly tight or that needs a little bit of TLC, and you can even stop there and roll the head forwards and backwards. And then use your next inhale to bring yourself back into center, sitting up nice and tall, stacking the bones so the head is on top of the shoulders are on top of the hips. And then from here, you can change the cross of the legs if you like. So if the legs are feeling a little bit pins and needly, we have been sitting for a few moments, you can change the cross of your legs, or you can give them a shake out and then come back to sitting whatever way is comfortable. And then from here, roll the shoulders up to the ears and down the back. So nice big squeezing movements, almost like you're wringing out a rag and you're getting rid of any tension that may possibly have built up there. And then go back the other direction. So see if that feels different. One way and then the other. Always looking for balance during our practice. And then let the shoulders rest down and then squeeze them up on an inhale. And exhale, let them come away from the ears. Let's take the fingertips onto the shoulders and start to circle out the elbows. Making the circles as big as you can. Go one way and then go the other way. And if something doesn't feel right or feel good in your body, if you're experiencing pain, then make the movement smaller or stop the movement if that still doesn't help. And then bring the hands back, or the elbows I should say, back into center and release the fingertips down to the outside of the hips. As you breathe in, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. On your exhale, lean and stretch over to the left. So we're working to ground the right sitting bone down into the mat here. Breathe in, come back into center, and exhale, release. With your inhale, reach the other arm up, and exhale, lean and stretch over to the side. Good, breathe in, bring yourself back to center, and exhale, release. So you're welcome to move like that with your breath, breathing in to reach up and exhaling to lean. Then breathing in to come back to center and exhale to release. Or you might start to flow a little bit faster with your breath. So we're focusing mainly on the exhale here as we lean and stretch over to the side. The inhale will take care of itself. You're not going to forget to breathe in. And during practice, I'll always cue the breaths, but if you lose track of when the breath is or whether you're meant to be breathing in or out, please don't worry. Just keep on breathing. Never hold, never retain the breath. Grounding down through the sitting bones, so you're breathing into the side ribs. You might find now on one side, you want to hold it here for a moment to get a really nice stretch. And then do the other side, and don't worry about rights and lefts. We all have a right and a left. Your right might be my left and my left might be your right. It doesn't matter. I'll always do both sides. And then breathe in, coming all the way back up into center. Take the hands onto the legs and start to circle out the upper body. Breathing in to go back, breathing out to come forwards. So you can start to bring the shoulders into this movement if you like. Trying to find as much movement in the spine as possible. And we're always looking to move our spine in every direction that it can move in. So it's actually got 6 different directions, believe it or not. And then pause, go back the other direction. So your spine can laterally stretch side to side. We just did that in our side to side movements. We've got flexion and extension, which we're going to do in a moment. And then we've got twisting, which we're going to do now. So can twist one way and then the other. Fingertips come back to the outside of the hips. Breathe in to reach up. As you exhale, twist over to one side. So take the back hand down behind you and then cross your other hand over the body so it's resting on your thigh. Now breathe in, sit up as tall as you can. And as you breathe out, turn and twist. Maybe you look over the shoulder. So here's our spine twisting in one of the directions. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, twist. Twisting is really, really good for us. It helps to create compression in the body and in the organs. It helps to stretch out the fascia, to help keep us healthy and mobile. It just feels so good as well. And when we release the twist, fresh blood and fresh oxygen flows to the organs. So really think about that now as you breathe in and bring yourself back into center. And exhale, release. Just observe and notice, does one side of the body feel different to the other now? I know I feel pretty unbalanced. Let's do the other side. Breathe in, reach the arms up. As you exhale, twisting to the other side. Inhale, find that length, and then exhale, move into the twist. So notice if you're leaning into the back hand, like flat down, and you're kind of laying back into that twist. See, can you sit yourself up really tall? Imagine there's a string coming out of the crown of the head. It's going up to the sky. Breathing in, finding that length, and with each exhale, you're moving really gently. It's more like an energetic movement into this twist. So it's not like you're releasing and twisting, releasing and twisting. You're already in the twist, so it's that energetic breath that's bringing you into it. Let's take one more breath here. And use your inhale, bring yourself back into center, and exhale to release. So I don't know about you, but I need to stretch my legs out. So let's stretch the legs out. If you're wearing socks, it's a good time to take them off now. Unless it's freezing where you are, then absolutely leave them on. And I'm leaning back a little bit here into my hands and stretching the legs out. And then begin to move your toes. So see, can you separate each toe individually? Can you wiggle the toes? Just get some movement into them. We're often wearing our shoes and squashing our feet into shoes during the day. We very rarely make these movements with our toes. See how far can you spread them out. If you're not a toe person, you're not going to like this. And then from here, point and flex. Point and flex. One more, point and flex. And then start to make circles with the ankles. So you can widen the legs here if you like. And even though this movement is happening in the feet, so I'm making those circles as big as I can. Look at your own, oh, there's a lovely click in my hip. Look at your own legs from the feet up to the knees. Check out that movement as the knees go from side to side. And then notice that join where your legs meet your hips. So this is a great way to keep the hip joint healthy and mobile. Now go the opposite direction, so change the direction of your circles. Really nice. And then bring the feet back into center. From here, let the feet fold from side to side. So it's like they're gently waving side to side. And even though this seems like a really small movement, we don't often think about doing this with our legs during the day. And it's a great way to keep the hips healthy, to keep the joints lubricated and mobile. And when you're ready, bring the feet back to center and bend the knees. Bring the soles of the feet onto the mat, and you can widen them a little bit and then let the knees fall from side to side. So you can start to look over the opposite shoulder if you like, for a windshield wiper. This isn't technically a yoga pose, but it's one of my favorite body movements. It's a really nice massage for your glutes. So they're the muscles in your bum. They get super tight in most of us. And when you go for a full body massage, well, in Ireland anyway, that's one place that you never get massaged unless you ask for it. And it's super important. So this is a great way to get a bum massage. And then when you're ready, bring yourself back into center and we'll roll over onto hands and knees. So coming over onto the hands and knees, if there's anything going on in the knees, use your blanket. So I've got my blanket folded. And these blankets are great. They're nice thin ones from IKEA. And they're just really great for yoga. I really like them. And take your knees to about hip width apart. So if you're not sure what hip width apart is in your body, you can take your two fists, place them between the knees. And for most people, this will generally bring your legs to hip width apart. So you can see now my knees are just underneath my hips. So I'm not going to be having them really wide like this or stuck together either. And then I'm placing my hands down on the mat. And hopefully my hands are stacked underneath my shoulders and my knees are under my hips. So I'm grounding down through Hasta Bandha. Remember earlier on we spoke about Mula Bandha, the root lock, Uddiyana Bandha, the flying up lock, and now we're talking about Hasta Bandha, the hand lock. So in Sanskrit, Hasta means hand. And the majority of us are not used to bearing weight in our hands. So when you come over onto your hands and knees, even if you're there right now while I'm talking, you might start to feel, oh, hands are a little bit uncomfortable. The wrists don't really like bearing weight, especially if they're not used to it. So it's important that the weight is evenly distributed around the palm of the hand. And we're looking to ground down evenly the whole way around and into the knuckles as well. So try not to let the hands come up into claws so that they're almost gripping on the mat, because this will encourage the weight to go into the wrist, which in turn will come up through your arm and into your shoulder. And we really don't want that happening at this moment. So grounding evenly through Hasta Bandha. The knees are about hip width apart, and we'll bring the awareness to the spine. So if you can imagine, that the spine is really nice and long. We have natural curves in our spine, so they need to be there. We never want to flatten our spine during our yoga practice. We want to keep those beautiful natural curves. They're there for shock absorption and to carry our bodies around during our lives. So imagine the crown of the head and the tailbone are lengthening away from each other. You're pressing evenly through both hands. The arms are nice and straight and the knees are underneath the hips. On your next inhale, extend the tailbone. So if you were a dog, you'd be sticking your tail up towards the ceiling. Let the belly go down, lift the chest and broaden across the collarbones and gaze in front of you. Now on your next exhale, imagine that little tail is tucking underneath. So you're rounding up through the low back, the mid back and then the upper back. So now you're like an angry cat and the chin tucks into the chest. As you breathe in, extend the tailbone. So here's like the happy dog tail. The belly goes down, broaden across the chest, look in front of you. On your exhale, tuck the tailbone under, begin to round up, chin comes into the chest. So this pose or this movement is called cat-cow. And as the belly goes down, this is the cow action, but I like to think of it more like a happy dog. And then as you exhale, rounding up, the chin comes into the chest. It's like you're trying to shorten the space at the front of your body. So this is cat. Keep moving like this with your breath. So we're breathing in as we stretch the front of the body and engage the back of the body. And we're breathing out as we squeeze the front of the body and stretch the back of the body. We're looking for spinal articulation here. So if you think about the spine, it's got so many different movements that we talked about earlier. And here we are in flexion and extension. So once the chest is lifted and we're sticking the tail up to the sky, that's an extension. And when we tuck the tailbone under and round in, this is a flexion of the spine. It's a great way to get to know your body, doing all of these lovely spinal movements. Let's take one more round of cat and cow, making sure that you're breathing in and breathing out. And then returning to a neutral spine, draw the belly in and come back to sit on the heels. Now just check in with the hands, how are they feeling? Let's give those hands a squeeze and release, squeeze and release. One more, squeeze and release, and then circle out the wrists. Turn this way. Now breathe in, reach the arms up overhead, and then circle the wrists out once they're up there. Go one way, and then go the other way. And then start to circle the hands out to the sides, reaching the fingertips away from you. Draw the belly in towards the spine, and then soften your shoulders. On your next inhale, turn the palms up to the ceiling. As you breathe out, the palms turn down, and then face them behind you. Breathe in, turn the palms up. And breathe out, turn them down and face them behind you. Let's do one more like this. Breathing in, turn them up, and breathe out, down and behind. Really nice. And then from here, take the hands behind the back. So you've got a few options here. You might be holding onto opposite wrist, or you might be holding opposite elbow, or maybe you'll interlace the hands and then work towards straightening the arms. So stay at whatever stage feels best for you and your body. If you're kneeling now, you can even come up onto the knees and then work to lift the hands away from the low back. And then can you draw the belly in towards the spine, keeping the chin parallel with the floor, so we don't want to juke the chin out in front. Keep the head stacked on top of the shoulders. And then very gently, wherever the hands are, release them and give the shoulders another really nice roll and shake the wrists out. We're coming up to stand from here. I'm going to show you two ways that you can come up to stand. And these are actually really great life skills to learn, believe it or not, because as we start to get older and as we age, we can sometimes lose the balance in our bodies. And if you're so used to just jumping up off the mat and coming up to stand without thinking about it, and then for some reason or another you've got an injury or you've lost your balance, you have to start thinking about how am I going to get up off the ground into a standing position. So here's two great ways to come up. So the first way is to come from hands and knees, and then bring yourself up onto your fingertips and bring your right foot through. So you might start to wiggle it through in front. And then bring your weight forwards a little bit and climb yourself up onto your right leg. So you're working here now with the hands on the thigh, and the thigh bone is really nice and strong. It can take the weight. And then tuck the back toes under, press yourself forward so you're in a lunge now, and then press all the way up to stand. So that's a great way to come up to stand. The second way is through a squat. So if you're kneeling, tuck the toes under, and then use your hands to press your hips back so the knees come up off the mat. Fingertips are on the floor, and then breathe in, engage the low belly and the pelvic floor, and bring yourself up to stand. Looks so simple, right? Because it is. So come on up to stand and take the feet to about hip width apart. So remember hip width apart from earlier on with our two fists, making sure that the feet are parallel so they're not turned out or turned in, and they're grounding down into the mat. And then close down the eyes and just let your arms rest down by your sides for the time being. And just find that connection between your feet and the mat. Really feel whatever it is you're standing on, if it's the mat or your floor, the towel or the carpet, whatever it might be, just feel that underneath your feet. And then notice where the weight is. Is it in the heels or the toes? Maybe you can rock your body forwards and backwards gently. Maybe you can go from side to side. And then come back into center and ground evenly through all four corners of the feet. A slight lifting at the instep. Bringing the pelvis into a neutral position. Find that awareness now with Mula Bandha, the root lock or the pelvic floor. Gentle tone. Draw the low belly back towards the spine. Stand up a little bit taller. Allow the crown of the head to reach up towards the sky. The shoulders rest away from the ears. Your face is soft, the gaze is soft. Come back to your breath. Knowing when you're breathing in and knowing when you're breathing out. Blink the eyes open and bring the gaze back around the room. So we'll do some hip circles. The hands can come onto the hips and you can widen the stance now a little bit. Keep the knees soft and start to circle out the hips. So it's like you're hula hooping. And for some of us, these might be smaller circles, and that's okay. Just tuning in with the hip joint, noticing what's going on and feeling what feels right in your body. If you've got music on at home as well, you can be dancing away to the music. And you might start to lean forwards and back a little bit. So you can keep the hands on the hips or you can let them move around. Just do whatever feels good. This is like free body movement, something that a lot of us are not used to doing, and we feel self-conscious in our bodies. Just go for it. Do whatever feels good. No one's watching. And then pause and go back the other direction. So nice big circles again. It doesn't have to look any particular way. It's just all about how that feels for you. And then as you breathe in, bring yourself back up into center, standing up nice and tall. Bring the feet back to about hip width apart again, keeping the knees soft. We're coming into forward folding. If for any reason forward folding is not for you today, then just come halfway down. If that's still not working, you can use the wall. So in forward folding, we're folding from the hips and we're working to bring the head below the heart. But like I said, if that doesn't work, then come to the wall and take a wall stretch. So you can have the hands on the wall, walk the legs out and then pedal the legs at the wall. So this is a really nice thing that you can do at home. So if you're coming with me into the forward folding, standing up nice and tall in Tadasana to begin with, soften the knees and then breathe in, reach the arms up. As you breathe out, folding down from the hips. So bend those knees, sweep the hands down towards the floor. Breathe in to come up, breathe out to go down. So start to move with your breath. And if you need to widen the stance, you can bring the feet wider now for balance. You might even lean back a little bit as you go up, as long as there's no injury to the low back. And the next time you come down into this forward fold, stay down here. Take a hold of opposite elbows and hang down in a ragdoll. You can rock gently from side to side if you like. And then bring yourself back into center if you're rocking. Release the hands and then start to roll up like a ragdoll, one vertebrae at a time. Really nice, slowly to come up. And then finally, the shoulders roll down the back. Really nice. So from here, we'll come towards the top of the mat. So you're facing towards the top of your mat. The feet are about hip width apart. We're coming into warrior one. So if you know the pose, go right ahead. Otherwise, softening the knees, picking up the left foot and step the left foot back behind you. So getting the left heel down. Make sure your feet are parallel and that it's almost like you're on skis. So we don't want the toes to be turned out to the side. And this is just to mind the knee joint in particular of the foot that's at the back. So for some of us, we might go a little bit deeper here. You might bring the foot a little bit further back. For others, you might find it's better to have the feet closer together, and this is fine too. If you're feeling wobbly or imbalanced, I suggest zigzagging the right foot out to the side so you've got a little bit more space between the feet, or you can always do this pose at the wall. So imagine I've got the wall there in front of me and I'm using it as a prop. So wherever you are, it doesn't really matter. Press down through the back heel, keep that right knee bent and it's directly over your heel. So we don't want that knee coming forwards in a lunge, we want to keep it right over the heel. And if you find you keep coming into the lunge, then give yourself another little bit of space, move that foot forwards and come into the pose. And then think about drawing right hip back, left hip forward, so the hips are square with the top of the mat. Option to stay here with the hands on the hips. If this feels absolutely fine, it's a good place to stay. If you need more, reach the arms up overhead. And you can soften the shoulders once you're here. Maybe you'll gaze up if the balance will allow. Let's take one more breath here. If the arms are raised, bring them back down onto the hips. And then use your core strength to bring yourself back up to the top of the mat. And just check, does one leg feel different to the other? I bet it does. So from here, softening the knees, pick up the right foot this time and step it back behind you. So placing the heel down. So we're working to get that heel grounding down into the mat. Both feet are facing towards the top of the mat, so don't have the foot turned out. We want the toes to be pointing forwards if possible. And then play around with your balance. Make sure that you're nice and comfortable in the pose and that you've got that balance. And then just check in and notice if your pelvis is going off to the right side. Can you draw it back? So if you could imagine that both hips are pointing towards the top of your mat. And then from here, you can stay with the hands on the hips if that feels good, or you can reach the arms up overhead. And you can widen the hands as much as you need to here. Or for some people it feels okay to take the hands together. For me, I like to have them shoulder width apart. Drawing the belly back towards the spine, grounding evenly through both feet. Let's take one more breath here. And then on your exhale, the hands come to the hips and we step back up to the top of the mat. Really nice. So from here, we'll step out to the back of the mat. So widening the stance. And turning, I'm going to do mirror image now, so just in case anybody gets confused, this is now my right leg and this is my left leg. I'm turning my right toes out and my left foot is turned in, so it's almost a little bit pigeon-toed. It's parallel with the short edge of the mat. And now I'm bending my right knee and bringing it directly over the heel. I'm turning my body to face the side of the mat. And then I've got the option to take my arms out to a T. So if this is unbalancing you or you need to take the hands back to the hips, that option is always available. So we're always layering the poses in stages. So you can take the first stage, the second stage, the third stage, whichever works for you, so that the practice is really individual to you and your needs on any given day. Option now to look out over the middle finger of the right hand. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the belly in. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Let's keep the arms where they are and then straighten the right leg. Turn the right toes in and turn the left toes out. And then bend the left knee and bring it over the heel. So you might need to make a few other little adjustments here as well, especially if you feel one side is different to the other. So again, we're working to stack that knee over the ankle. And just notice in your own body, if you're lunging sideways, work to keep the shoulders over the hips. And maybe you'll gaze out over the middle finger of the left hand this time. Your gaze is soft. Breath is slow and easy. Keeping the arms where they are if possible. Straightening the left leg, turn the left toes in and turn the right toes out again. Bending the right knee, bring it over the heel. And just notice if the arms are giving out, they could possibly be. We'll take the left hand onto the left hip. Turn the right palm to face the ceiling. And as you breathe in, reach towards the ceiling first. You've got the option to stay here if this feels like enough. Or as you breathe out, you might lean back. Reverse warrior. You might be staying here, or maybe You'll start to slide the left fingertips down the left leg. To release, breathe in, reach up first. And then exhale, release, hands come back to a T. Straightening the right leg, turn the right toes in and turn the left toes out. Finding warrior two again on the second side. And then bringing the right hand onto the right hip. A welcome break for the right shoulder, I can tell you. And then turn the left palm to face the ceiling. As you breathe in, reach towards the ceiling. Option to stay here if this feels like enough, or you might start to lean back on an exhale. Sliding the right hand down the right leg. So be mindful of the knee joint. You can look up if the neck will allow, or if it's better, you can stay looking down. Come out of the pose, breathe in, reach up, and exhale back into warrior two. And then very gently release the hands back to the hips, straightening the left leg, sorry. Turn the left toes in and just check in with those shoulders. Give them a few rolls out. We had the arms out to a T for a little while, so they could possibly be given out. We'll take one more forward fold here. So standing with the feet nice and wide apart, the toes are facing in front of you, so we don't want the toes turned out for now. The feet are parallel with the short edges of the mat if you're on a mat, or slightly pigeon-toed, and we're working here with straight legs. So when you start to come into the forward fold, if you notice the legs want to bend, then just come back to the stage you were at before that and try to find length in the spine. We're looking for a nice, long, tall spine during our forward folding. So the hands come to the hips to begin with. Breathing in, grow tall. As you breathe out, start to fold just halfway down. So the spine comes to a tabletop position. Crown of the head is lengthening in front of you and you're gazing down at the floor just in front of you. Now notice where the weight is under the feet. Is it in the heels? Is it in the toes? Can you get it even? You've got the option to stay here if this feels like enough, or you can come out at any stage that you like. Maybe you'd like to go a little bit deeper today, and if that's you, bring the hands down onto the mat. Come up onto the fingertips, breathe in for a halfway lift, and then as you breathe out, slowly lower the head, coming into that forward fold. So I don't know if you guys can hear me now. I'm just going to take my mic off and leave it down here. So if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can start to walk the hands back between the feet, or you can always keep them forwards if this feels better. So you decide. For some people, the crown of the head is actually going to be right down on the mat. So you can go to whatever stage of this pose works for your body today. Finding a tone with the front of the thighs, keep lifting at the kneecaps, grounding down through little toe side of the foot in particular. Let's take one more breath here. And then on your next inhale, come up onto fingertips for a halfway lift. As you exhale, bring the hands onto the hips, breathing in to come all the way up to stand, and exhale to release. Really nice. Let's put my mic back on. So from here, we'll zigzag the legs back in towards each other. Oh, just notice how they are. I nearly lost my balance there. And then give the hips a little rock from side to side. Maybe a circle out as well if they need it. And we'll come down onto the mat for a back bend. So we're going to take bridge pose for our practice today. If for any reason you're not doing this pose today, then you can come and take legs up the wall while we're doing this. You can have some support for legs up the wall, like a cushion under your head, or if you've got a couch near you, you can put your feet up on the couch as well. If you're back bending, then come with me. So for back bending, we're not going to have any props on the mat or on the floor. There's nothing underneath your head. There's no cushions or blankets. And we're coming to lie down on the back. The feet are about hip width apart, so it's a good idea to check when you're sitting up that your feet are hip width apart. Remember from earlier, Have a little check, really nice. One line from the middle toe up through the knee, and then from the knee right down towards the hips. And then lying yourself down. Take the hands alongside the hips. You can walk the heels back in towards your sitting bones at this point. For some of us, we might be able to feel where the heels are. If you suffer from hamstring cramping, if the feet are much further away, this is when the cramps might start to kick in. So it might be better to have the feet a little bit closer, but you'll know once you come up into it what's going on. If at any stage during your back bending you need to come out, then come down really slowly. If there's any pinching, pulling or pain in the low back, exactly the same. Really slowly bring yourself back down and take rest. So we're looking to peel the spine up off the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Take a few breaths and then we'll come back down exactly as we came up. So when you're ready, the hands are resting down alongside the hips. Shoulders and face are relaxed. The low belly draws in towards the spine. And then just bring the awareness to your body on the mat. So notice the parts of your body that are touching the mat and those that aren't. And bring the awareness to the low back, so that little arch underneath the low back. And then begin to send the low back down towards the mat really gently. It's like you're just really gently pressing it down. On your next inhale, begin to peel up one vertebrae at a time, peeling the spine up off the mat, coming to rest up on the shoulders. So you might stay here. This could feel like enough, or you can come down if you need to at any stage. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you might be wiggling one shoulder under and then the other. And that'll bring you a little bit deeper. I'm just readjusting my feet there as well. So we're in a spinal extension here, engaging the back of the body and then stretching the whole front of the body. Grounding through the feet. And then when you're ready to come down, releasing down just as slowly as you came up. So start thinking about sticking the spine onto the mat like sellotape. The upper back first, the mid back really gently, and then the lower back. And then once you're down to rest, take the feet wider apart and allow the knees to come towards each other. You can turn the palms up to face the ceiling here and close the eyes for a moment, taking constructive rest. And if everything feels okay, then begin to let the knees fall from side to side. So it's like our windshield wipering that we did earlier, except for now we're lying on the back and the target is more in the spine. So really allowing that spine to neutralize after back bending. We were in spinal extension. And then as you come back into center, pick up the knees and bring them in towards the chest. Now very gently bring the knees inwards and then rock from side to side. You've got the option to stay rocking, or you might make circles. So going one way and then the other. You might even let go with the knees and make those circles. So I always think this is like a really nice massage for the low back. And then when you're ready, bring the knees into the chest one more time. Option to roll to your side, or you might rock and roll up to sit. So if you're rock and rolling, hold on to the backs of the thighs. Take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, rock yourself up. You can always do this a few times if you like. Breathing in to go back, breathing out to come up. Breathe in to go back, and out to come up. One more time. Breathing in to go back, and out to come up. So from here, we'll sit with the knees bent, a good gap between the legs. So it can be wider than hip width apart. I'm going to use my blanket to sit on. And then take a breath in. And as you breathe out, fold yourself down between the legs. Just take off my mic again. And let the head hang down. So there's absolutely no effort at all in this forward fold. Softening the face and the shoulders. You might even open your mouth and let the breath out here. breathing in slowly, bring yourself all the way back up to sit. Stretch the legs out straight. And then bend up the right knee. So I'm actually going to turn this way, so you guys can see me. Bending the right knee up, let the knee come out to the side. So you have got the option to have your foot as far down as your ankle. In particular, if there's anything happening in the right hip joint, it might be further up, or it might be right on the inside of the of your other thigh. If you find the knee is right up onto the mat and it just doesn't want to come down, then put something underneath it to support it. So you can have your cushion here for that support, or you can even roll your blanket and put it there as well. We're working to sit up nice and tall. So I've got my blanket, actually I'm going to fold it one more time underneath my sitting bones here. Bear with me, there we go. So that I feel like I can sit up a little bit taller and I can just get a little bit more space here into the rib area. Breathing in to grow tall and breathing out. So I might stay here if this feels like enough in my body today. If you want to fold forwards, just be mindful of the low back. If there's injury, bring a little bend into the knee or stay more upright. Breathing in and breathing out to fold down. So your hands can walk down, but try not to let the shoulders bunch up. The object isn't to grab onto the foot or to bring yourself into this really deep forward fold. If that naturally happens in your body, then go for it. But if it's not naturally happening, then think about sitting up a little bit taller, broadening across the collarbones, and then folding from the hips. Notice if the left foot is flopping out to the side. Can you curl the toes back towards you? You can keep the gaze soft or even close your eyes here if you like. Breathing in slowly, unfold, come all the way back up. So we leave the legs as they are. Inhale to lengthen, and as you exhale, twist over the bent knee. So taking the other hand across the body, rested on your thigh. Inhale to lengthen, and as you exhale, move into the twist. So notice the back hand, if you're leaning heavily into it, can you come up nice and light? And even though we twisted away from that left foot, can you keep the foot flexed and active? And breathing in, slowly start to return back into center and exhale, release. So we'll do the other side, stretching out the right leg, bend up the left knee and bring the left knee out to the side. So you can have something underneath the leg for support. One side might feel really different to the other. And then breathing in, you've got the option to stay here if this feels like enough, or you might fold forwards on an exhale. Keep broadening across the collarbones, spine stays long. Surrender a little more with each exhale. And then start to breathe in, bring yourself back up, and exhale to release. So we'll keep that left leg as it is out to the side. Inhaling to lengthen, and exhale, twisting over the left leg. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, move energetically into the twist. Try to keep the shoulders and the face nice and soft. Breathe in slowly, make your way back into center, and exhale, release. So we'll stretch both legs out in front, coming into a forward fold. You've got the option for bent knees here if you like. I'm going to have a little softness in my knees. In particular, if there's injury to the low back or the hamstring muscles, I do suggest that you bring a softness into the legs, or if you just feel that it's too tight, then have a little bend. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, folding down. You might find once you're down in your forward fold, after a few breaths, the legs might want to straighten. And then as you breathe in, very gently bring yourself back up to sit and release. So we'll come off whatever you're sitting on, bend up the knees and give a gentle windshield wiper from side to side. And for the final part of our practice, we will come to Shavasana. So use whatever props you like. If you're at home, you can take legs up the wall. So if you are taking legs up the wall, you can have a cushion underneath your head and wrap yourself in a blanket as well if you like. I'm putting on my woolly socks. You can do the same if you like. You can also take Shavasana lying on your back in corpse pose, which is the traditional pose for Shavasana, or any other way that serves you. If it feels better to stay seated, then do stay seated as well today for this part of the practice. So take your time to get ready. You can even pause the video, go get some music and put it on while we're practicing Shavasana. I don't have music on the video because the sound doesn't pick up too well on it. So get yourself ready and then come into a comfortable position for Shavasana. So I invite you to close down the eyes. And just begin to let go of the practice. Let go of the effort of the practice, the effort that it took for you to get here today, the effort that you made on the mat. Just noticing the natural breath at the end of class. A slow, easy breath, no effort. If you're lying on your back, can you allow the feet to fall out to the sides? If your arms are down by your sides, you can turn the palms up to face the ceiling, so opening the hands and acceptance. Acceptance for whatever your practice has to give you right now, today. Feel the whole body becoming relaxed. Grounding down into whatever support is beneath you. Noticing the thoughts coming and going. Just acknowledge those thoughts. There's nothing wrong with having thoughts. We all have them. Just acknowledge them, know that they're there, and allow them to just fade away. And each time more thoughts come in, doing the same thing, acknowledge them, accept them, and then let them go. Giving yourself the permission now to just be here for these few moments. Of quiet, of calm, allowing yourself to be completely relaxed, letting go. if your mind is beginning to wander, start to bring it back to the room that you're in. Noticing any sounds that might be around you. Becoming aware of your physical body. Notice any sensations at the end of your practice, physical or energetic. And then allow your breath to deepen. Start to gently move the fingers and the toes. Reach the arms and legs away from you. Take a long stretch. Taking any last movements that you need here at the end of your practice to wake yourself up. And if you're lying on your back, bring the knees into the chest. Wrap your arms around your shins and rock yourself gently from side to side. Hugging yourself, thanking yourself. And eventually come to lie on your side. Give yourself a moment. And whenever you feel ready, come back up to sit. So sitting comfortably, whatever way serves you right now, taking the hands together at the heart center in a mudra or a gesture, a hand gesture of peace and thanks, Anjali mudra. Bowing our heads and offering our deepest thanks and respects to one another for coming to practice here together today. Namaste. Thank you all very much. I hope that you enjoyed our practice together today. And if you would like to see more of my videos, you can log on to my Facebook page. It's Yoga Studio. And as I said before, my name is Christine Dunworth. My studio is in Kilcock, County Kildare. It's called Yoga Studio, Y-O-G or A Fada. If you're Irish, you'll know that Grawl means love. If you're not Irish, I'm telling you, Grawl means love. And the name came about because I love yoga so much. So thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you all soon again. Thank you.